All right, so our show is all about celebrating inclusivity and the welcoming vibes and the community of cons overall. So, can you kind of just tell me about your con experience?
Yeah. So, well, to do that, I got to take you back.
Take me
Okay.
back.
So it's probably about, I'd say 15, 16 years ago. Our first con experience was a con in Knoxville. And my husband and his best friend, Jared, Jared was a vendor. Okay. Jared would sell toys, and my husband would go with him and our son and their son, Bishop. They would go and sit and play under the tables and do all the things. And my husband was like, "Oh, my wife's never going to like this. She's not going to have anything to do with this." Well, then the next year came around and they had Peter Mayhew. Well, Peter Mayhew is very close to my heart because I love Star Wars.
Sure.
My son's name is Anakin.
Love it.
I named him after, of course, Anakin Skywalker. And so that year we all went. Well, we walked up. My little 7-year-old son was dressed as Captain Rex, and I had never been to a convention in my life other than another con, but it was Twilight, and that was years ago. But so we walk up to the table, and I'm standing there, and my son, who barely is like his head, his eyes were at the top of the table. Because if you've ever seen Peter Mayhew, he is so tall, right? And my husband is standing there, and my son walks up to the table, and Peter Mayhew reaches out over the table and sticks his head on top of Anakin's head. And it's like, "Hello." And I was just, my heart and everything just sunk. And I was like, because that's Peter Mayhew. That's Chewbacca, right?
Okay.
So fast forward, we started going all the time. And then it was probably, this is 11th year. So a few years later, my husband and Jared decided they wanted to throw something together just for fun because they were both wrestlers.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to do a combo of wrestling and comic book shows. Well, they had planned to do it that following summer, but in February, he passed away and was unable to do it. So a lot of the wrestlers, we do a benefit show for the families when someone passes away. That's where Farley Con was born. Was out of a need for his family. We thought, how fun would it be? And we're like, what are we going to call it? And we was like, Farley Con. His wrestling gimmick was a Chris Farley, and he went as Jay Farley, the large lover, right? So Farley Con was born, and his kids came. We had 10 vendors that were all Jared's friends that he had known for years. He travels all of the shows, the circuits. They are a family. We're all a huge family.
Right.
As we were doing that, everybody's like, why don't we make this, do it again and make it an annual thing? Mm-hmm. Well, then it became 2 times a year. So 2 times a year, we do Farley Con. And then we're like, let's just do one big show. And
here we are.
So our first con experience was probably one of the most purest because of Peter Mayhew. I have a picture of him holding his hands up, and Anakin's hands barely was to right here. Yeah. A little 7-year-old. Could you imagine being 7 years old and see Chewbacca sitting in front of you?
I'm trying to.
Yeah, it's unreal. Right. And then with Farley Con, we've not turned it over to Joe Nuga, but we've kind of made a home for the G.I. Joes in Farley Con because my husband and son, when the first G.I. Joe movie came out, my son was 3 years old. And he fell in love with Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes was his best friend. If he ever got in trouble in school or if he got in trouble at home, Snake Eyes did it. It was all on him. So my husband and him bonded and created that love of G.I. Joes. And they would go on the weekends while I was working, and they would go to the toy stores, to KB. They would go to Toys R Us looking for G.I. Joes.
Right.
You could order them online.
Sure.
But it's so much funner to find them out in the wild.
Absolutely.
Right? So then, again, they would go to little toy shows and go to the little hotel toy shows, and they would go to the other G.I. Joe shows that were in the area. And it just become part of our family. And my husband, myself, my son, and my daughter, we all run Farley Con. It's a family ran and it's family owned. Everyone that you will meet inside from the people at the ticket booth to the people that are standing in line saying next, next, to the person that's feeding our guests. Every single person is in our family.
Right.
And then we bring people into our family that are friends, and that's how we have gotten Farley Con. Jared's memory is a staple with every single person in this building, because every single person in this building knows him.
Yeah.
And without him, we would not have had Farley Con. And it's a labor of love.
Right.
Because, I mean, it takes a lot. My husband starts working on Farley Con the week after it ends.
Right.
And it's nonstop for the whole year until we get here. And so
it's beautiful. I love all of that.
I don't know if all that was.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect.
I mean, if someone has never heard of us or know of us, I want to tell them the reason we do what we do.
Yeah.
And the reason why we have the G.I. Joes is because my son and my husband, that's their bond together. We also have the wrestlers with Devon Dudley and Brutus Beefcake because of Jared and my husband's love of wrestling.
Yeah.
And we have the comic books and the toys because that's what Jared did. He was a toy and comic book vendor.
Right.
And so every little clog makes everything work together.
Sure.
So
I love it. It's beautiful.
Awesome.
One last question, just out of my pure curiosity. Can you tell me a little bit about the logistics that goes into all this? Just as event coordinators, like what all hats do you have to wear?
A lot. I mean, it starts from contacting agents to doing contracts. You have finding the agents. Then you got to feed the guests. You got to get the hotel rooms. Then finding the vendors, setting up the website. I typically am a runner. I drive my guests from Atlanta Airport. I drive them all the way back, and then I'm taking them back at 6:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of different hats. There's a lot of different aspects to it. Even like we have one of our guys is our vendor coordinator. He's over all the vending. We have another person that's over the front of the house person. I mean, that's a lot.
Right.
I don't know if that completely answered
No, it
that.
does. It does, because I've just always been so curious, because obviously I think that we all as fans are kind of like, I want to put on a show.
It is. And I mean, if you have the love for all things, and the one thing that we want fans and we want our staff, our guests, everyone that walks through the doors at Farley Con, we want them to have that experience of, number one, nostalgia, of a dad, a son, a mom, a daughter, walking through and looking at the toys. And especially with me, with Strawberry Shortcake, Jim and the holograms, we had her 2 years ago. To me, that was my childhood coming to life.
Right.
And she was right there in front of me.
Yeah.
And then I could sit and talk with her. And that's what I love, is when I have a child walk up to Greg Berger, for instance. I had a client and her son wanted to come and meet Odie.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize, honestly, that he was voice of Odie.
Right.
And he stood and talked to him for 20 and 30 minutes. But that impact, that's what I want. Every guest we have says when they leave, they feel like our family. That's the core of Farley Con, is just that nostalgia, the closeness, the family. And you can have a corporate ran con, and they're amazing as well. I don't know what goes into that.
Sure.
But as far as Farley Con, it is literally blood, sweat, and tears, and just true grit. Every aspect of Farley Con would not happen without my husband and without the volunteers. If we didn't have them pushing us and saying, hey, let's do this, or what do you think about this, and can we have this person? Without everybody working together, it wouldn't happen.
Absolutely.
And that's basically is the nutshell of it all. Is it's a hard thing to do, but in the end, when it's all over and you're sitting there and you're like, oh my goodness, we just had the largest G.I. Joe reunion in the world.
Yeah.
In one building.
Yep.
I mean, it's just kind of like, wow, you just got to sit back and think about it,
Well, and I'll be honest, I didn't have huge expectations as far, because I knew that it was a smaller con, but my gosh, did you guys nail it? Like it is exactly what you said, just that the same family vibes that I'm constantly searching for when I'm going to something like this. Perfect. Nailed it. Loved it.
Thank you. And you would feel comfortable bringing your kids to.
Absolutely.
And that's a huge thing with me, as with my kids. That's where we started. That's where we went. I mean, first time my son met Larry Hama was at not a small convention, but it was in a hotel convention in Atlanta. And he was 7 years old and he was barely at Larry Hama's shoulder.
Yeah.
And we have like a growth chart experience of his pictures with Larry through the years, you know, and now he's taller than him.
Right.
So, and it's just the family, the nostalgia.
That's what it's about.
Yes.
I love that so much.
Thank you.
Tell everybody where the next Farley Con will be, or when the next Farley Con will be, and then where we can find Farley Con
Farley
online.
Con is always the first weekend of August, and it will be here at Camp Jordan.
Love it.
And you can check out our website, www.farleycon.com. There you have all of the information is updated. Follow us on all our social medias on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter also. And that's the best place to stay up to date is on our socials. So,
All right. Love
absolutely.
it. Thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you. And you have a good day.
You too.